Hey y'all, welcome to Alliecat Customs. I just got done upgrading this frame on this 2000 Chevrolet Silverado from a bolt-on style C-notch to this weld-on style step C-notch from Twisted Toys. So y'all stick around and see how I did it. All right, y'all, so as y'all know, when you start slamming trucks to the ground, things like the frame and the axle tends to want to occupy the same real estate. So one of the good ways of making sure you have some clearance for your frame is to have a C-notch, and there's a couple different ways of going about it. You can have a bolt-in kind, like what this truck has, or a weld-in kind. Well, the guy that owns this truck, when they originally lowered this truck and started doing some work to it, they just bought a bolt-in kit, and it came with all the other stuff to lower the truck. So they installed the bolt-in kit because he's not a welder and stuff like that. But now that he's getting more serious about wanting to go drag racing and stuff like that, since I already had the bed off and everything, he went ahead and ordered a C-notch kit, a weld-on C-notch kit. And he bought it from Tricked Toys. So I'm going to be replacing this bolt-on kit with the weld-on kit. So kind of makes it more of a challenge. It's a whole lot easier with weld-on kits if the frame hasn't been modified. But I've already went ahead and played with it and got the truck leveled out. There's not a whole lot to make sure that the bed is square or the frame is square, but I know that all the body mounts or the bed mounts are the same height. So use my level here as a go no-go gauge to see how it would work across all the bed bolts, and looks flat, looks square enough to make things work. So as I'm gonna keep checking this as I get this removed, and as I start putting the weld-on kit together with it braced in the front here, or in the back here, and in the front of the truck, keep checking with my no-go gauge, and see how everything works together as I put it all together. So, about to start unbolting it now. So one of the bad problems about having a bolt-on style C-notch is the fact that dirt and junk can get stuck between the C-notch and the frame, and it can cause all kinds of rust issues, especially you poor folks that live in the Rust Belt. Y'all can have all kinds of problems. This frame is probably the nastiest frame I've ever seen on a pickup truck. It came from Michigan, so it has all kinds of fluid film on it. And I didn't really pay much attention to it until I started taking the truck apart, or else it would have gotten a very bad steam cleaning before I started working on it. But the good thing is the frame is preserved pretty well, so I just cleaned all the mess up so I could get this C-notch welded on. All right, y'all, so last night I got the bolt-on C-notch removed from the frame, and I got it cleaned up. And in my checking of making sure the bed frame was flat, on these pickup beds, you have 2 bed mounts in the front, and then you have 2 bed mounts on the back. And then in the center here has a rubber stopper, and the whole setup is supposed to be flat. So the bed sits down flat on top of it, and you bolt the bed on. So that was my gauge to make sure that the frame was flat. And as I was checking, it just seemed to have a little bit of a bow to it. And I remember when we unbolted the bed kind of teeter-tottered on the center of the frame. So that kind of had me concerned, but I wanted to wait until I had the bolt-on C-notch removed to make sure that the frame, if it was the frame or the bolt-on style C-notch that was causing the bow. And my thoughts on that was maybe the bolt-on C-notch may have had a bit of preload on the frame, so that when you applied weight maybe it would try to protect the frame from wanting to cave in the center. But this bed's never had any weight in the bed of the truck. It doesn't even have a receiver hitch, doesn't even have a ball on the back bumper. So this truck's never had no weight. The only thing it's ever done is haul butt with a big old hot motor in it. So I don't know if the bolt-on C-notch was the cause of the frame trying to bow up, but for whatever it was worth, once I got the C-notch taken off, I tried to level it all out. I have, the frame is supported at the front of the truck and at the very back of the truck under the back bumper mounts. So all of the bow should be out of the frame at that point. Well, it wasn't. So what I did was I was trying to push down on the center of the frame, and without a frame machine, I had to get a little redneck. So I actually cut some relief cuts right here in the frame that I will patch up now just after I get done showing y'all what I did. But I cut a relief cut here, and then I hit it with a sledgehammer to drive the frame down. That is not the right way of doing things, but when you don't have a frame machine, you kind of do what you got to do. That's what I did. Also, a thing to note is when I was doing some research on these Weld-On C-notch kits, I wanted to see if there was any YouTube videos or any other, build articles or anything showing the frames and showing kind of what people had issues-wise with the thing. And every C-notch kit I saw get welded on, the frame was different than the frame on this truck. And I know that there's some variations on the frames. This is a 2000 model Silverado. And the frame here, on all of the videos I saw on YouTube, the frame was flat on the side here. Well, this frame has a ridge that runs along here, across the frame here, and also on the back side of the frame on both sides, it has a lip that rolls down. And other frames that I saw people doing these C-notch kits on, they didn't have that ridge right here. So when they put this outside plate on, they could press it against the side of the frame that would sit nice and flush. This one won't do that. And the bolt-on kit also wouldn't sit flush on the frame. So I don't know if that may have been the cause of allowing the frame to bow up or what it was, but for whatever it's worth, the frame is dead flat now, and I'm going to fix what I cut on the frame right here and start installing the C-notch kit. I could, and this is something that I was thinking about last night and I'm really thinking hard about this morning. You could cut this brace here out of the frame, this ridge, and I saw a truck, I forget the name of the guy on the video, but he repaired a C-notch kit that had a big old goofy weld or spot cut out of the frame. And I bet that frame on that truck had this set up, and whoever put that bolt-on C-notch kit on, they cut it out. I'm not too keen on wanting to cut out extra part of the frame. I could cut this part of the frame here out and then put another patch in here, but it's not stuck out so far that this won't line up and I can't weld it. And it seems to be able to line up pretty well. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna press it close enough to it, get it all lined up best I can, and weld over it. I see it as six in one hand, half a dozen in the other. You can either A, cut this part out and weld in a piece of flat plate right here and brace it up and then put the C-notch kit over it, or do what I'm about to do, leave it alone, put the C-notch kit on it, and it'll work. So let's see, get this cleaned back up and get ready to start installing it. All right, so now I got the outside portion of the C-notch kit clamped into place using a piece of plate on the back side so it doesn't bow on the back side of the frame. When you look inside, you can kind of see that ridge that runs along the frame has the C-notch kit, just the plate, just a little piece away from the frame, but it's not so much that you can't weld it together. I can fairly easily weld that gap up. That sits flush enough to the frame, so I can fill that bead in. I'll run a pass on the plate, and then come back across on the frame, fill that gap in. I have perfect confidence in that's going to be plenty strong enough to hold on there. I got a good seam there. And on the back side, it looks nice and flush there. And it's laying flat against the frame on the side here. So as you can see, there's extra material I got to cut out compared to the bolt-on kit, and that's actually part of the ridge. So once I get this outside plate welded on, I'm gonna go to the inside and do some finagling on the inside to make the inside plate work. Once I get everything tacked up, throw some heat to it, see how well she sticks. Alrighty, now that I got the outside plate tacked into place, I took my plasma cutter and cut out the excess part of the frame so that the bottom plate of the C-notch will fit into place. Just plasma cut it, get the good clearance, and move on to the next step. Once I get the excess part of the frame cut out, I move to the inside of the frame so that I can line everything up. I use the inner plate as a template to line up the bottom plate. And once I get the inner plate lined up and the bottom plate lined up to where I'm happy, then I'll just tack the bottom plate into place on the outer plate. And then I can remove the inner plate and weld everything up on the inside of the frame and move on to the next step. Now that I have the bottom plate and the outside plate welded into place and everything looks good, then I'll slide the inner plate in, get it all lined up and tacked into place, and then I'll go about welding the entire inner plate in, and then I'll have the left side of this frame finished. All right, y'all, so yesterday I wrapped up the driver's side of the frame. I got all of the top side stuff welded up. When I get done with this side, I'll raise the whole truck up since I have it supported on jack stands. I'll raise the whole truck up and do the overhead welding on the underside of the frame and then have both sides finished welded. But after I got done welding that side, I came over here yesterday evening and I knocked off the bolt-on style C-notch and went to check the frame because I didn't show y'all how I corrected the driver's side frame because I was kind of feeling it out how I was going to make it happen. And I figured, hey, if the passenger side frame was bent, I'd show you all the steps I took to straighten it like I did the driver's side. Well, I got the frame cleaned up and everything, set my level on it, and it is perfectly flat across, all the way across all of the body mounts. So I won't be frame straightening. So I guess now it's just time to dive in and start tacking up the plate. And on this side, there's the same ridge brace that's in this frame, as this truck is a early build date 2000 model truck, and apparently the 99 2000s had a bit of a different frame variation than all of the later models. So I'm going to do the same thing I did on that side. I'm just going to push the plate up against it and finagle it around and match it up instead of trying to cut extra material out of the frame. And once I get it all tacked on, and I burn it in place and have this project wrapped up. So I get fired up now. All right, so I got both C-notches fully welded into place, and this is a much stronger setup than that old bolt-on style C-notch. If you have the ability, I highly recommend you just skip right past them bolt-on C-notches and go to a weld-in style like this. The end result is much worth the added work, and even if you have to get somebody to weld them in for you, do it. It's not worth it. I don't feel it's worth it to do a bolt-in style C-notch, especially when I found that driver's side frame was actually bent from the setup. It's just not worth it to me. I wouldn't want anybody to put something like that on their truck. This setup here is done for me for now. Because this is a 99 2000 era frame, apparently there's slight variations on the back side of both sides of this brace. On the inside, it doesn't quite reach the bottom of the frame rail back here, so I'm going to add in an extra brace to weld into both sides. But since this is a much larger project, I'm going to be putting in aftermarket upper shock mounts, and I'll be putting in an aftermarket sway bar for the back, since this is going to be more of a drag racing style setup. I really want to get those located and in place before I go, through the extra work of adding braces and those kind of things. So when I get to that point, I'll do the braces, and I'll include it in those videos whenever the time comes. But this is as far as I'm going to go with the C-notch kit right now. You also, because this is a step notch like this, there is a rib under the bed floor that you have to cut out. You don't have to cut into the bed, but there is a rib that runs across the bed rail that you have to cut out. And I'm not going to be able to show it to you right now. The bed of this truck is currently a parts location. We're holding all our spare parts in the bed of the truck right now, and I have some other modifications to do to the bed. So when that time comes, I do the other modifications, I will be doing taking that rib out. So unfortunately, you won't get to see me do it in this video. But if you enjoyed this video and you found it helpful or enjoyed it, make sure you hit like, subscribe, and keep on coming back, because I've got a whole build project on this truck, and you'll be able to see the other modifications I did to this truck right here at Alliecat Customs.